Hi, I'm KS Bhaskar. I lead YottaDB, the world's most scalable key-value database, which is in production worldwide in mission-critical applications in healthcare, banking, and elsewhere. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to get started with YottaDB using the programming language of your choice if you're comfortable with Linux. So, what are key-value nodes? Key-value nodes are just n tuples or sets of values where the first n-1 pieces of data are the key and the last is the value. In YottaDB, we write these n tuples with syntax resembling array references that are familiar to programmers. So each tuple is called a node. The caret at the beginning of each array reference means that it refers to a node that persists in the database rather than a node which is temporary and in the memory of a process. So these are the steps of this demo. I will boot a virtual machine and log in, install YottaDB, and access it from multiple languages. So I'm using a virtual machine so that at the end of the demo, I can crash the virtual machine and show you how YottaDB protects the database, recovers the data, and protects your application. I'm using the Acculturation Guide virtual machine. You can, of course, use your own virtual machine, a physical machine, or a Docker container. So I'm going to boot the virtual machine. Since I'm not the world's greatest typist, I've got all of the commands in from a place where I can just copy and paste them. So first I'm going to boot the virtual machine. Okay, so the virtual machine is booting, and while it's booting, so the command boots a virtual machine, which is a Debian 12 machine with two CPUs, 2 gigabytes of RAM, no display, so it's headless, and port 2222 on the host is forwarded to port 22 on the guest to allow SSH access. And if you want the virtual machine disk image, you can get it at that URL. In case that URL doesn't work, replace the 12 by a 13, because if that's the case, it means that we have released a Debian 13 virtual machine replacing Debian 12. So let's log into the virtual machine. Okay, and we've logged in there. And the next step is to install YottaDB. So you basically download the YottaDB installer and use it to install YottaDB. We're installing it with UTF-8 support for international languages. So that gets the installer, and let's use it to install YottaDB. Okay, so YottaDB is installed. So this command creates and initializes the database. Notice that it starts with a period, which is the shell syntax for running it in the current shell so that it can initialize environment variables. Now, you may wonder how such a capable database is so easy to use. This script, which YottaDB includes, automates what most users need. If you're setting up an enterprise-scale application that uses some of the most sophisticated features of YottaDB, you will probably develop your own custom scripts. If you're one of those people, you don't need this video. Okay, so now let's access the database from Go, and we're going to create a Go. These are basically the steps that any Go programmer would use to create a Go application. So we create a temporary directory, or we create a working directory and change to it. We initialize it. We get the hello world program. And let me show you what that program looks like. As you can see, it's just a very simple program. It imports the YottaDB package, and then it sets a node in the database. Go mod tidy is a command that brings in the modules that the program needs. And we compile the program. And we run it. So now let's confirm that that the key value node has been set, and the first key is hello, and the second, it's a two-element key. The first element is hello, and the second element is go. Okay, so you can see that that node right there. It says the key is hello and go, and there's a value which is hello world in the Thai language. Okay, so let's access it from C. C is, of course, the lingua franca of computing, and the accesses, as you can see, are essentially intuitive to programmers in each language. So we get the C program. Let's take a look at the program. And as you can see, it's an extremely straightforward C program. There's a couple macros which are included in the header file. We compile the program, and then we run it. Let's access it from Lua. So now we've installed the Lua wrapper. Let's get the say hello program, and let's take a look at it. So again, as you can see, it's an extremely simple program. Let's run it. Now let's access it from M. Let's look at the M program. And again, you can see it's an extremely simple program. And let's run it. So after M, let's access it from nim. And one thing to be aware of is, there are some languages where we provide the wrappers, and because we're 100% open source, in some cases, the language wrappers are provided by members of our community. As you can see, I'm just copying and pasting the commands. So now we're downloading the modules that the NEM wrapper needs. Let's get the Hello World program and take a look at it. Sorry, I copied the wrong. Okay, so there's the NEM program to do Hello World and set a node. And let's run it. Okay, so the NEM program is run. So now the next language that we're going to access YottaDB from is Node.js. So it's pulling down the Node.m module, which provides the access to YottaDB from Node.js. Let's pull down the Hello World program and take a look at it. As you can see, it's an extremely simple program. And now let's run it. Okay, so we've accessed YottaDB from Node.js. The next language is Perl, and there's a YottaDB module in the cpan database. Let's pull that down. And as you can see, it's pulling it down and installing it. And I guess running some tests. So the Perl module was developed by a member of our user community. And this appears to be the most complicated module to install. Okay, so the Perl wrapper is installed. So let's get the Hello World program. And let's take a look at it. Again, an extremely simple program. Let's make it executable. And let's run it. Okay, so we've accessed it from Perl. And now let's access it from Python. And we're setting up a virtual environment in Python. And so now we have the virtual environment. Let's install the YottaDB wrapper. Let's get the Hello World program. And let's take a look at it. Okay, again, it's a simple program. And let's run it. Okay, so we've now accessed the database from a variety of languages. So let's take a look at the database and see all the different nodes that there are. So as you can see, there's nodes from all the different languages that we have set, and the database has been accessed well, not concurrently in this case, but you can access it concurrently from pretty much any language for which there's a wrapper. Okay, so now let's crash the virtual machine, and then once it's crashed, we'll see how the database is recovered automatically. So this basically requires that I log out to the host, and in the host, I will kill the virtual machine with the kill -9, which is basically like a crash. It doesn't give the virtual machine any chance to recover or to sort of shut down cleanly. Let me reboot the virtual machine. And while it's rebooting, you can basically, it takes a few seconds to reboot, and then we're going to log in, and you'll see that there's really nothing that you need to do because YottaDB takes care of itself. It does all of the hard work so that you don't have to. Let's log in. Okay, so we're logged in. So now what we need to do is run that script again. And this script, again, it starts with a period, and it really does the same. For you, from your point, for you, it's a very simple thing. You just run the script. But under the covers, it does a lot. In this case, it's actually recovering the database after the crash. And now let's make sure that the data is still there and intact. So as you can see, the data is all there. The database is, in fact, indeed intact. So as you can see, using YottaDB is almost as easy as falling off a log if you know Linux. Thank you for watching this video. And if you want more, please check out our website or email us. Thank you.